Hey everyone, Dr. Chem here, and man am I absolutely thrilled to have you with me today. Let me start things off by asking you a quick question. How do we actually measure the invisible chemical currents flowing all around us? Like, how do we quantify the exact concentration of an unknown substance that's just hidden away inside a complex mixture? Well, today, in this explainer, we are going to build a very special kind of lens, an electrochemical lens, that's going to let us see this hidden microscopic world with absolute pinpoint precision.
Welcome to the lab. Today we're diving into a real cinematic masterclass on a completely revolutionary technique, polarography. This is an analytical method so groundbreaking that its inventor, the brilliant Czechoslovakian chemist Jaroslav Hajrovský, who developed it way back in 1922, was actually awarded the Nobel Prize for it in 1959. We're going to explore exactly how this ingenious method totally shaped the landscape of analytical chemistry and electrochemistry for decades.
Here's our syllabus for today's explainer. We'll start with a welcome to polarography, check out the Dropping Mercury Electrode, decode the polarogram, break down the Ilkovic Equation, and wrap up with some real-world applications. Let's get to it.
All right, Section 1. Welcome to polarography. We're laying the foundation for what is arguably the ultimate historical solution for analyzing complex chemical solutions.
So, what actually is it? Simply put, polarography is a specific type of voltammetry. We're using a very special working electrode, the Dropping Mercury Electrode, to measure the flow of electric current as a function of a gradually increasing applied voltage. Because we're utilizing mercury as the electrode material, it gives us this incredibly wide cathodic voltage window ranging from roughly positive 0.2 volts all the way down to negative 1.8 volts. That makes polarography uniquely and perfectly suited for studying electroreduction reactions.
To really get this technique, we have to look at the apparatus, which brings us to Section 2, the Dropping Mercury Electrode. This is literally the beating heart of the whole operation.
Now, what's really interesting here is the sheer physical ingenuity of this setup in action. You've got this mercury reservoir suspended up at the top, right? Gravity is just pushing that liquid metal down through the system. You'll also notice an inlet for bubbling nitrogen gas through the solution. That is an absolutely crucial step to kick out any dissolved oxygen, which would totally mess up our readings. And right there in the center, extending down into that glass electrolysis cell, is the capillary where the real magic happens.
Looking at the micromechanics here, it's wild. We're dealing with a profoundly fine glass capillary. I mean, the internal bore size is insanely narrow, just 0.03 to 0.05 millimeters across. Gravity forces the mercury down this tiny tube, forming a perfectly spherical drop right at the tip. And because of the constant pressure from the mercury column above, these drops are released into the solution with perfect rhythm, usually every 1 to 5 seconds, like clockwork.
Okay, let's dive into this, because this is where the sheer brilliance of liquid mercury really comes in. Why use a constantly dropping toxic liquid metal? Because it creates a self-cleaning canvas. Every single time a drop falls, boom, you get a continuously renewable electrode surface. It completely wipes out the dreaded issue of electrode poisoning, meaning no leftover analytes or impurities can ruin your next measurement. You get a smooth, fresh, uncontaminated surface for every single reaction. Plus, like we mentioned earlier, mercury has a super high hydrogen overvoltage, which massively expands the range of reducible elements we can actually analyze.
So we've got this rhythmic falling liquid metal electrode. But what does the data actually look like? That takes us to Section 3, decoding the polarogram, where we start reading the fingerprint.
Look closely at this curve. As we linearly crank up the applied voltage across the solution, we track the current, resulting in this stunning sigmoidal or S-shaped wave. Do you see those intense, jagged little spikes all along the curve? No, that's not a glitch. Those are the actual rhythmic current oscillations caused by the changing surface area of those growing and falling drops of mercury. If we were to draw a smooth line right through the maximums of those oscillations, we trace the pure current voltage relationship of our analyte.
Let's pinpoint exactly how this builds our understanding. Right in the middle of that rising slope is a super important coordinate called the half-wave potential. This is the exact moment, the exact potential, where the concentration of the oxidized and reduced forms of our substance at the electrode surface is perfectly equal. 50% oxidized, 50% reduced. And get this, that half-wave potential acts as our unique qualitative fingerprint. It tells us exactly what element or compound is in the solution, because every single reducible substance has its own specific half-wave potential. No two are alike. But wait, to find out how much of the substance is in there, we've got to separate our signals. Think of it as a sharp contrast between two types of current. First, you have the residual current. That's just your background noise. It's flowing even before our target analyte starts reacting, mostly due to condenser capacitance and tiny trace impurities. But what we desperately want is the diffusion current. That's the actual signal we're after, generated by our electroreducible ions migrating from the bulk solution straight to the surface of our mercury drop. So, the diffusion current is simply the difference between the total limiting current at the top of the wave and that noisy residual current at the bottom.
All right, so we know what the diffusion current is visually. Now it's time to translate that physical reality into a mathematical blueprint. Welcome to Section 4, the Ilkovic Equation.
Now stick with me here, I promise this isn't just dry math. The Ilkovic equation is basically this elegant, predictable code that links the microscopic physical mechanics of that dropping mercury straight to the quantitative concentration of our unknown chemical. It is literally the master key that unlocks the true analytical power of polarography.
So the crucial point is how all these physical variables fit together. Imagine I'm writing this out on a glowing blackboard for you. ID, our diffusion current, equals 607 times N times D to the 1/2 times M to the 2/3 times T to the 1/6 times C. Let's break that down. It's easier than it sounds. 607 is just a constant combining Faraday's number and the density of mercury. N is the number of electrons swapped in the reaction. D is our diffusion coefficient, basically how fast the stuff moves through the liquid. M and T represent our capillary characteristics, the mass flow rate of the mercury, and the exact lifetime of the drop in seconds. When you hold all those physical and chemical parameters steady, your diffusion current becomes perfectly proportional to C, the concentration. We measure the current, run the math, and boom, we magically have our concentration.
So why go to all this trouble? How does analyzing this microscopic data actually impact our daily lives? Let's move beyond the lab in Section 5, Real-World Applications. And this brilliantly illustrates the sheer versatility of Herovsky's invention. Because it can measure concentrations down to tiny fractions of a mole, polarography became deeply embedded across global industries. In pharma, it was heavily relied upon for the quantitative analysis of crucial medicines, think tetracycline antibiotics and sulfonamides. In environmental monitoring, it was a totally game-changing tool for estimating the exact amount of dissolved oxygen in water systems. From mapping out complex organic structures to detecting traces of metal interactions, its impact has been absolutely monumental.
It is so vital we recognize the legacy of polarography. Sure, today a lot of modern labs have transitioned to solid-state electrodes to get away from using bulk liquid mercury, but the fundamental principles of polarography served as the historical cornerstone of modern analytical chemistry. Up until the 1990s, it was the undisputed heavy hitter that pushed both analytical chemistry and electrochemistry into the future. It literally taught us how to control, measure, and understand the microscopic dance between electricity and matter.
Which leaves us with this final thought. We just saw how a rhythmic, falling drop of liquid metal, guided by the elegant math of the Ilkovic equation, let us peel back reality and quantify the invisible chemical forces of our world. So it really makes you wonder, what other invisible currents, out in nature or in the cosmos, are just waiting around for us to invent the right analytical lens so we can finally see them? Keep learning, keep questioning, and I will catch you in the next explainer.